presenting my research entitled PISMP June 2018 TESOL Training Teachers Preparation for Practicum Phase 1. Right. Okay, let's go through the background of the study. Since the center of this research is about practicum, I would like to emphasize on the definition of the practicum. Alright, practicum can be defined as a channel for the training teachers to participate in the classroom as a teacher within the suggested period before they are fully responsible for the teaching with the support and help from a professional teacher stated by others in 2018. Alright, so from here we can see that practicum is mainly made for the training teachers so that they can go through the teaching experience first before they get posted to the schools. So in order to get through the practicum, they will surely prepare themselves in many aspects like various teaching skills and also common of knowledge for the practicum. Alright, the problem statement for my research, the first one is the demand of the training teachers. As we all know, the shortage of the teachers in Malaysia is a never-ending problem. Hence, the teaching institutions all over Malaysia need to produce more and more quality teachers. In order to produce more and more quality teachers, teaching practicum is made as a center of attention. So, throughout this practicum, training teachers surely encounter many and unexpected challenges while being in the classroom because they have to deal with the various demographic background of the pupils. And at the same time, they have to adapt to the school. They have to build a relationship with the school members, with the school staff, and so on. Alright, the second one, Malay language as a pupil's native language. Living in Malaysia context, we surely know that the pupil's first language is Malay language, not English. Therefore, the training teachers have the difficulties in teaching the second language as they have to make sure that their pupils at least need to master even the basic skills of language. And other than the pupils, the training teachers also are not even the native speakers. It can be stated by Sedgwick and Bishop into 2021. There are 15 million English teachers. They are not even the native speakers of the language. Hence, other than facing the problems of the pupils, they cannot master the native language. The training teachers also have the problem in mastering English language as well. Alright, the progress of the study. First one is to explore TESOL training teachers' preparations for the practicum phase 1, and the second one is to evaluate the influence of some variables. Alright, the variables involved in this research is gender, school location, professional identity, pupils' knowledge, pedagogy, classroom management, and also support-related factors. Okay, so we go to the next one, research objective. The first one is to explore the TESOL training teachers' preparations on their practicum. The focus practicum is phase 1 practicum because we have 2 phases of practicum, right? So I want to focus only on phase 1 because we have the physical practicum, not the online one. Alright, the second one is to dig out whether male and female TESOL training teachers differ in their preparations for their practicum. Okay, the research objective stated before brings the research questions. The first one is, what are the preparations of TESOL training teachers for their practicum? And do male and female TESOL training teachers differ in their preparations for their practicum? Okay, the significance of this research, I make the significance mainly for the training teachers because only the training teachers will go through the practicum, not the permanent teacher, not even the future, not even other party. Okay, so for the training teachers teaching standard, all the preparations will help them to implement the accepted teaching standards. They get to know what are the teaching standards suitable for their pupils. Okay, other than that, once they implement the teaching standards, they can aim for the outstanding pupils during the practicum. Okay, other than that, they can improve themselves in terms of creating positive interactions between the training teachers with all the school members. Okay, related past research. Okay, I stated 2 past researches here. The first one is a study entitled teachers' beliefs and practices of grammar teaching. For example, this research has analyzed the teachers' preparation in teaching grammar and found that the majority are agreed. It is a fundamental aspect in language learning because the students only can understand English grammar once the teacher gives clear and specific instruction. So I can relate the preparation for the grammar with my research. Okay, next one is another study entitled A Study on Mentoring Practices for Novice TESOL Teachers, a Malaysian Perspective by Parr and Singh 2018. This study proposed that the teacher preparation is a crucial component in ensuring teacher effectiveness. Thus, mentoring program is undeniably is a vital aspect in preparing them to survive in the teaching field. So this emphasizes the mentoring program, which I also include in my questionnaire. Alright, my research design, I apply the quantitative research method through survey. Okay, survey can be defined as the collection of data from sample of people by analyzing their answers to the questions provided, stated by Contour 2015. And my research as well applied the cross-sectional design because it only focused on the training teachers practical phase 1, which means only 1 point at a time. Alright, my population sample. Population, I involved all semester 8 TESOL training teachers from June 2018 intake in IPG campus Dato' Razali Ismail, which conclude there are 98 training teachers in total. And then my sample, I involved 80 TESOL training teachers from June 2018 intake. The number of sample, I did the number of sample based on the population and sample level by French and Morgan. Alright, my research instrument, there are 6 sections I included in my questionnaire. The first one is the demographic information. The question provided are the gender, class, their teaching experience prior to practicum, and so on. And then section B, professional identity, section C, pupils knowledge, section D, pedagogy knowledge, section E, classroom management, section F, support related factor. Alright, the research procedure. The first one is the selection of topic. I did some research on selecting the suitable topic for my research. And then number 2, clarification of RO and RQ. I need to make sure that my RO and RQ complement each other. And then third one, reviewing literature, like the past research related to my study. And number 4, research design. Number 5, collect the data. Number 6, analyze the data. Number 7, drawing the conclusion. Alright. Next, the data collection procedures. Firstly, item construction. I construct the questionnaire based on by adapting the previous questionnaire by other researchers. I also ask my supervisor's help to assist whether my questionnaire is reliable or not. Other than that, second one, I did the pilot study, 20 of them, training teachers in our IPG as well. And then I distribute the online questionnaire through WhatsApp group. I send my questionnaire to the respective of each class. There are 5 classes in, for our batch. So I send to 5 of them and they distribute to their classroom group. And then I analyze the data. Alright, the data analysis procedure. Firstly, data preparation. As you all know, quantitative research method, we need to install statistical package for sciences SPSS software version 26. So based on this software, all the data that obtained from the questionnaire will be transferred into the spreadsheet in SPSS software. And then this software will interpret the data. Alright, then differential analysis. I use the independent sample t-test to determine the difference between the weight of the 2 groups in my research, which is male and female. Okay. Then the descriptive analysis, I highlight on the percentage and mean for each response. Alright, then my data finding for research question 1. Okay, as you can see, I included each of the items from each section, starting from B, C, D, E, and F. Section A is not included because there are only demographic information. So these are the items and these are the mean. As you can see, this is the highest of each section. Section B, the highest one is that. Section C, the highest one is blah 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 and so on. Alright, so the discussion came from the data finding. Based on the 6 sections that are included in my questionnaire, it is supported by Mutra 2018. There are 6 elements proposed to teaching profession, namely pedagogical topic knowledge, instruction quality, classroom atmosphere and management, teachability and professional attitude, which I also included in my questionnaire. Alright, the data findings for research question 2. This is the value of significance to tail 0.6 to 5. So, based on the 0.6 to 5, any value that represents the significance to tail is higher. It's actually higher. It's higher than 0.05. Then it can rule out that the null hypothesis, there is no association between the variable. Therefore, my research concludes that there is no significant evidence of difference between the male and female trained teachers on the preparations for the practicum phase 1. Alright, so the conclusion, I can conclude that I can obtain useful information on the preparation of TESOL training teachers for the practicum. Other than that, I can also conclude that there is no significant differences between the male and female TESOL trained teachers preparation. And at the same time, this study encourages other TESOL trained teachers in highlighting on the best preparations for the practicum. So the recommendations that I can suggest, the future researchers can conduct a qualitative study for the same topic, or other than that, the researcher can focus on the impact of the practicum towards the teachers doing. They can do the same topic, or they can change other topic. Right? Next one, implications. This study can boost the trainee teachers' motivation in improving their performance in every aspect, like what I included in the questionnaire. And then, at the same time, the trainee teachers can also build and maintain the good relationship with the school mentor as well as the supervisor. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. The ceremony will now continue with a question and answer session. The panel may start the Q&A session and ask questions to the presenter.
Okay, based on your question, based on your findings, your entire sections, isn't it? Okay, so each section, how many questions that you have there?
5 for each section, except for the last one.
The last one, you mean
The last one, I only included only 4 of them.
Okay. So for section E, you have the item I feel worried when teaching in a disability class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It is a negative statement to say that the training teachers prepare well for the mixed ability classroom. They prepare well by acknowledging the various teaching methods for the mixed ability classroom. That is the negative statement to show that they prepare for the mixed ability classroom.
Okay. Is there any class control, findings, in your, questionnaire?
Class control.
Something about class control.
Classroom management.
Classroom management.
In section. I don't remember in section.
Which section?
Before.
Look at the data findings.
Section E.
Section E.
Classroom management. I included like the question on how trained teachers manage the classroom.
How do you manage the classroom?
The children active.
Because this is the most,
Most preferred.
Yes, it's not the most preferred, problems that all the practical trainees will face and encounter. Okay.
Okay, thank you congratulations to Ambilan. So I just want to know from your opinion, based on your findings, so how the training teachers' impression for your
Impression.
preparation good enough or something like that?
Overall, I made it simple. I can conclude that both of the female and male training teachers from June 2018 intake, they are all prepared enough for the practicum phase 1 through all the sections mentioned: classroom management, pedagogy, support-related factor involving the school mentor and also the supervisor, and that's what by implementing the right ethics value of the teacher. Professional ethics.
Majority of them.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, please welcome the next presenter, Guru Syafiqah Pensi Abdul from lesson 2 to present the presentation. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. I wish to respected panel, Madam Nalida and Mr. Akfi Deparite. So today, I will present my research on the topic using the Crypto Act to enhance year 2 people's ability in using common noun from Sekolah Kebangsaan Jari. My research is under supervision of Mr. Chan Siang Long. Okay, so we proceed to the background of the study. Okay, as you can see here, vocabulary is the main core of English language because without sufficient vocabulary, people will be having problems in understanding each other and also expressing their own ideas. According to Nobel 2018 stated that successful vocabulary development ensures that students will develop meta-cognitive skills, which will assist children in comprehending advanced text requirements when they leave the learning to the read phase. Vocabulary is disproves that vocabulary is very important in teaching English language. Although the development of English language skills in pupils will develop over time, however, I believe that using teaching vocabulary will enhance their learning efficiently. This is also stated by Robertson 2018 that describes vocabulary as the glue that hold all together the concepts, the ideas, and also the stories. To add on, Grady also stated that vocabulary is pupils learn vocabulary 10 words a day within the age of 2 to 6. So as a teacher, it will be a waste for a teacher to not teach the vocabulary in their lessons. Thornbury also stated that if you spend most of your time studying grammar, your English will not improve very much. You will see improvement if you learn more words and expressions. You can say very little grammar, but you can say almost everything with words. Therefore, the noun is the first word that we learn in our spoken or even our reading. So therefore, it is very crucial to learn nouns and to apply it because as we know the names of the objects or things or names, we can draw the attention to us. Okay, that is cited by the Wills College 2017. Okay, we continue to the statement of the problem. So the main problem that aroused in this research is that difficulty in understanding words. The pupils will have trouble in answering the questions because they fail to understand the word. For example, during the past practicum experience before, I experienced that the students having problems in jumbling the words because jumbling the sentence in the word because they do not know some of the words on it. So by this means, they are having the understanding and the comprehending issue on meaning making of the vocabulary. Okay, next is lacking of vocabulary. The people who own limited vocabulary will definitely have hard time acquiring the target language. The third one is failure in completing tasks. The pupils understand the instruction given in the worksheet, but they fail to answer the question because they do not understand some of the vocabulary, especially nouns in the worksheet. Lastly is the failure of using noun within context. This by means they are using the nouns wrongly in a sentence. The pupils' failure in comprehending the words leads to using nouns in sentence wrongly. When the pupils did not have the large vocabulary, they will continuously making the same mistake throughout the teaching and learning process. This is because they have confusion and the lack of comprehending skills. Okay, next we move on to the purpose of the study. The purpose of this study is to investigate whether the use of this intervention, Picto-Act, can enhance the year 2 pupils' ability in using common nouns. So in this research, I selected 12 nouns and I have been implemented it in the Picto-Act. Moving on to the research objective. The first research objective here is to investigate whether the use of Picto-Act can enhance year 2 pupils' ability in using nouns. For the second research objective, to ascertain if the Picto-Act can enhance year 2 pupils' ability in language performances related to nouns. As you can see here, the research objective 1 investigate on whether it can or not, and the research objective, the second one is for ascertain whether on how it can improve the language performance. So it can be related to the research question that I prepared. Can the use of the Picto-Act enhance year 2 pupils' ability in using nouns? And how can the use of Picto-Act, my intervention, enhance year 2 pupils' ability in using nouns? Moving on to the significance of the study, I distributed it into 3 parts, which is the pupils, teachers, and researchers. As for the pupils, we can see the advantages for low achiever pupils to improve and expand the vocabulary related to noun by using this intervention. This can be seen as the Picto-Act helps in assisting and improving the vocabulary relating to noun as it incorporated with various media. Next is the giving ideas on developing more practice and appropriate approaches for teaching. Choosing a stable teaching method is very important to bring the instruction to life and encouraging the student to actively engage with the content and develop the knowledge and skills. Next is for the researcher, helpful in giving insight and identifying the problem in the English classroom. By this research, it helps the researcher or the stakeholder to make changes and action on a certain issue or topic instead. Next, we are moving to the related past research. I included 3 past researches that relate to my research on Picto-Act, which is the abbreviations of the pictures to action. So here we can see that Nadia Maruzu 2018 claimed that children should be given the possibility to employ their imagination when using the bodies as a resource for obeying the teacher's command. This is because learning new concepts through the body helps children understand the meaning without the teacher's explanation or translation. By this means, this intervention inculcates the action by using the inclusion of GIF. I use the GIF and the pictures together. Okay, so next is Mofari Al-Khatani summarized important research on vocabulary and explaining many techniques used by English teachers when teaching English. He listed that one of the techniques in teaching vocabulary is by using pictures and illustration. Pictures connect pupils' prior knowledge to a new and in the process help them learn new words. In this intervention of the Picto-Act, I have incorporated with the pictures and illustrations. Asher, the learner answer physically to the verbal command can be helpful to introduce English vocabulary to children. Children construct social system of communication using their imagination, trying out new ideas, developing kinesthesia, and creating a sense of control over their world in a stress-free environment. By this means that this intervention inculcates the visual spatial intelligence, kinesthetic, and also interpersonal styles of learning. Next, we are moving to the research design. The design research that I chose, that I applied here in this research is Cummings and McTaggart model by 1988, which consists of 2 cycles. The first one is following this model, my actual research started off with a planning stage by looking at the issue concern and the research focus, which is enhancing young people's ability in using nouns. Then, from that, I developed the action to resolve the issue. I implemented the intervention of in 3 different lessons. Next, I evaluated the understanding by using the assessment after every session ended. I also reflect on the data I get, and also decide whether the action taken is succeed or not. Next, I will revise the plan and also make a new improvement. My actual research is described as in 2 cycles as opposed by chemist method. Hence, this actual research is done by 2 cycles to gain the data findings. Okay, the population and the sample. The population here is year 2 genius people from Sekolah Kebangsaan Jawi, and the sample is 4 people in vocabulary related to the common noun. How did I choose the people here? Is the 4 lowest people that I did with a ratio of mark of 0 to 3 marks per 12 marks overall, and I choose them 4 of them to join the research process. Okay. So here's my intervention, which is picture act, which includes of the videos of nouns, songs of nouns, nouns board, chant board, and also games and quizzes, which are yes or no game, click the match game, fill in the blank quiz, and also recap activity sessions. Okay, next. Here are the research procedures. The first one is identify and analyze the problem in ESL classroom, which is the main having the main difficulty in knowing the meanings of the nouns. Next is design and create intervention. I've done the pre-test, implement the intervention, and then I do the post-test, which is 2 cycles, which means there are twice of the post-test. Observe people's behavior, performance, and action, and lastly, analyze and reflect the data. I also make improvisation, which is the fill in the blank quiz and also recap activity. This the purpose of doing improvisation is to increase the difficulties gradually and also strengthen the cognitive skills. Okay, this is the instruments used for data collection. There are 3 here, which is document analysis, observation, and semi-structured interview. The first one is the pre-test and post-test, which consists of 12 questions for 12 selected nouns. Next is student behavior protocol, which is the field notes, and lastly is the semi-structured interview protocol. Here is the one of the transcript. Next. Okay, the data collection procedure here includes of 3 steps, 3 stages, which is before, during, and after. Before the research being conducted, I have done the pre-test, which is given them the handouts, which consists of 12 questions. Next is observation field note. Teachers observe people's behavior, performance, and attitude, which is 4 aspects here, which are the repetitive strategies, people-centered technique, people's motivation and enjoyment, and also active participation. The semi-structured interview, teacher introduce 4 people individually, and there are 5 questions consist on every interview. Last one is the post-test. 2 post-tests being assessed for 2 cycles, which consists of 12 questions. The difference between the post-test 1 and post-test 2 is the difference in the sequencing and the existing of the pictures in the test. Okay. Next is the data analysis procedure. The data analysis procedure consists of 3, things like the collection method, of course. Okay, the document analysis consists of worksheets and post-test, which this research is done by inductive approach and qualitative analysis. Observation is observation field notes using thematic analysis, like I said before, and also interview, semi-structured interview using thematic analysis. These have been done in triangulation of data. The importance of the triangulation of data is to test the validity of the information due to the merging of the various sources. Okay, next is the data finding. Data finding is for the content analysis. You can see here, the blue one is the pre-intervention task, the orange one is the post-intervention task 1, and the gray one is the post-intervention task 2. So you can see that positive increment of thought on the selected vocabulary tested, surpassing the minimum requirement. As for the observation field notes, people develop absolute enjoyment and interest gradually in using PictoAct. Strategy of repetition builds on better repetition. People's motivation level and engagement has increased. Involve people-centered technique and active participation. Positively. Lastly is the semi-structured interview. This PictoAct enhance the understanding, which they facilitate the understanding, promotes memory retention, allow multiple sensory stimulation during CPR and also the pictures, visual spatial intelligence. Pupils in small session with PictoAct, tremendous enjoyment expressed by people for using PictoAct. Next is moving on to the discussion. To answer the research question 1, can the use of PictoAct enhance the pupils' ability in using now? Yes, the pre-intervention task and post-intervention task result is accurate that the pupil score in the post-intervention test increased after the implementation of PictoAct as well as positive response from the semi-structured interview. This can be seen not only on the post-intervention result, but also it can be seen on the observation where the pupils, where I can see the pupils complete the task even faster, and it shows that it helps them easier in understanding the nouns. The next one is also the semi-structured interview that they claim and stated that the PictoAct helps them, the PictoAct is easier for them. Lastly is how can the use of PictoAct enhance the pupils' ability in using nouns? Yes, the integration of PictoAct can enhance the ability in using nouns through employing repetitive strategies, facilitate understanding new vocabulary, promote enjoyment, and also apply pupil-centered technique. Conclusion is the research objective achieved, question has been answered, and also the use of PictoAct is effective towards enhancing your pupils' ability in using common nouns. Next is recommendations. I recommend to conduct a study with more variety of new vocabulary for further research, include more advanced technology such as augmented reality, and also to assess people to ensure the application of knowledge in variety ways. Spend longer time spent on conducting the research. Last thing is the implication. Teachers, the impact of the implication of this research is to teachers is equipped with digital literacy, for training teachers to develop creativity and become more innovative, and lastly, for people's mastery on the ability of using common nouns is enhanced. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. The ceremony will now continue with the question and answer session. The panel may start the Q&A session and ask questions to the presenter. You may.
Hi, okay, based on your data, on your findings, your pre and your post, your pre and your post, what do you call it? Findings. Increase the students' performance, especially in using nouns. Okay, before you use this PictoAct, what is the activity? Test. Huh? What is it? PictoAct. Okay. Have you, carried out this before you come up with your sini? Have you used this technique? Okay, before you apply to your, have you used it before you start, you decide that this PictoAct as one of the appropriate activities to test them?
Yes, I have done before because the people have trouble in jumping out the sentence, especially they do not know how to put the nouns either in the front or the back of the sentence. So I acknowledge that they have problem with the nouns since they do not even know the meaning of the sentence. Did not know the meanings of the words. So it caused them the problems of understanding and comprehending the vocabulary itself.
Okay, you decide to use these techniques by looking at their performance before that. And then after you get the analysis, the data, the findings, and then you know that the performance increase. And after that, did you still using it for any other for cake or whatsoever?
Yes, I did it. I do it for the other topic. The first time I do is for the unit 6 get dressed. The old house. Unit 7 get dressed, and then unit 8 the robot. I do it in sequence based on the topic.
So you did apply it.
Yeah, in 3 times.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And congratulations to Shafika. So, I just want to know the picture X is stand for
Picture to action.
picture to action. Okay, so maybe you can share with us how the student use this software. Is it?
I know the interactive slide.
My process PowerPoint
Yeah.
slide.
Mm.
Yeah, how the student use it? Is it individual or in a group activities?
Okay, so they are divided into tutorials and then quizzes. So for the first time, they will watch the videos in groups while following the video doing the action. For example, if the videos topic is the unit 7 get dressed, so the pupils will learn, will imitate the video, such as wearing the trousers, because this intervention is the incorporation of pictures and action. So they are moving along with the intervention. So for the next one now is the noun board, where there are gifts there, so the pupils imitate and moving during the photo-physical response activity. Next is chat board. They read and then this intervention apply the repetitive strategy. So we have set the action that needs to be done on the selected noun.
So the pupils only watching and reading the slide.
Watching music, and also there are games and quizzes.
Yeah. So they
Yes,
can
only
play the game. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Something from my supervisor for you. Another question.
Now, welcome our next presenter, Abu Teresa Bakri from Unit Chapter 1. Present his presentation. Please welcome.
No problem.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Abdullah bin Zakri, and today I will be presenting my action research entitled Using Interactive Dialogue to to improve basic speaking skills among young people. So actually, I had this idea of the research since my first SPE, PDS, Pengalaman Berasaskan Sekolah, when I was asked to read a class, and then the student came to me. She wanted to use the toilet, but she said, "Sir, tandas." And then I asked her to say it properly. Can you say it properly in English? Because that was an English class. But the student could not do it. So I think this is a problem. And I should say, I should solve this problem. But then, before I tried to solve this problem further, I did some research because I thought this might not be a problem in just that school, in that particular school. I think this is a national problem. And yes, based on my some readings, I found that it is a problem. Speaking is a problem among primary school people because first, primary school people, they do not practice English. Sometimes even in English class, they rather speak Malay. So this is backed by Najibullah and others research in 2019. And also they make mistakes when they speak. For example, they make grammatical errors, poor choice of diction, and also wrong pronunciation when they speak. And this is backed by Morton in 2017. And also they hesitate when they speak. What I mean by hesitate, maybe they halted or they use too much fillers when they speak. And therefore they could not speak fluently. This is also backed by Najibullah and others in 2019. Okay, so this is the purpose of the study. This research aims to provide an effective solution for pupils who have problems in speaking English by training the pupils to use basic English phrases in their daily life. This is not speaking as overall, this is just basic speaking skills. Okay, the research objectives, there are three. First one, to improve people's basic speaking skills using interactive dialogue blog, and then to encourage the people to speak English in daily conversations using interactive dialogue blog, and lastly, to provide the people with an assurance of their ability to speak English with correct grammar and pronunciation. This is the research question. Does the use of interactive dialogue blog improve people's basic speaking skills? Does the use of interactive dialogue blog encourage people to speak English in daily conversation? And lastly, does the use of interactive dialogue blog give the people assurance of their ability to speak English with correct grammar and pronunciation? And this is the motivation, the main motivation of me to do this research. Because I think this research, I believe this research will be helpful for people who have problems in speaking. And yes, indeed, this research has been helpful for people who have problems in speaking English to express common needs or desires properly. And there are some researchers that are related to past researchers that are related to my research. The first one is psychological factors that affect English speaking performance among Malaysian primary school people. This is done by Najibullah, Hamza, Pendidikan, Siva, and Jayalakshmi in 2019. So in this paper, they found several psychological factors that hinder English speaking skills among primary school people. What are they? Some of them include lack of confidence to speak, and other one is also fear of making mistakes when speaking. So that has hindered them from speaking English. And
Excuse me, do you have any copies of your slides?
no, I haven't print any. I can give it to you later.
Kita tak nak sekarang because I want to see the relation. Kan kita, kalau kita untuk our QA session, we need to see the, you know, kalau macam ni, mungkin it seems like
Tapi
kan? Tapi tak bilang.
Because it's in private, and another one is I hope my parents see me instead of looking at my
Because
my
your
slides.
all the presenters and presenters.
Yeah.
Sebab nanti QA session kita nak tengok macam mana how the flow it goes kan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. So continue with the second research. Oh wait, this research suggested teachers to use learning materials that would support the pupils to speak. So create a supporting environment. So this is what this research research. That's why I came out with the material, which is interactive dialogue. And second one is Dutch linguistic, enhancing English communication skills among Malaysian primary school people. This is an excellent research done by Nurain, Santi, and Malone in 2019. And this, the intervention is Dutch linguistic, where they require the people, the samples, to dub to dialogues from movies. So that's how they train them. There are samples to speak. And the last one is this paper by Bella, Sophia, and Nurati, which is the effect of short dialogue memorization on speaking ability of the second year students at SMPIT at the Secondary Schools. This is closely related to my research because the use of memorization to improve speaking skills. And the issue is English speaking skill is low among primary school people. However, the Ministry of Education aims to produce bilingual people as stated in the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013-2025. And of course, English speaking skill is in demand because it will help the people later when they want to work. If they have good English speaking skills, it can help them to secure a job. And therefore, this research focuses to improve speaking skills of year 4 people using interactive dialogue. But wait, why year 4 people? Because first, they have been learning English for 3 years. Year 1, year 2, year 3. And in the year 3 English SKP, it is stated that they should be able to express common needs or desires properly, verbally. So that's why I think it is appropriate to use year 4 people for this sample, for the research. And next, these are the research participants. Okay, they are from year 4 of SK Taman Si Rembau in Rembau Negeri Sembilan, and they are also my pupils for my second practicum session. There are 3 of them, 2 boys and 1 girl. The first one, RC1, he's an active boy and he always participate in class. He tries to speak in English in class, however, he would make many grammatical errors. Same is RP2, also an active boy, also like to participate in class, try to talk to the teacher, but sometimes he has to speak late during English class. And lastly, not like the other 2 boys, this is a girl. She's much more reserved compared to the other 2 boys, and she's a hardworking girl. So these are my participants. Next, let's see. This is my intervention. Basically, it's a interactive 4-point slide, and this is the home page. Okay, this is the home page. At first, I created this intervention with 10 scenarios. These are the common scenarios that the pupils face in their daily life. For example, the first one here, they need to use restroom because this is most common in English class. And okay, if they click on that picture, it will lead them to this slide where there are 3 elements. First one, the picture representing the scenario, so it will help them to reach this slide. And the second one is the dialogue itself. This is where they can look at the dialogue and use this dialogue if they want to express their need. And lastly, this icon. They can click on this icon if they are unsure of how certain words from dialogue should be pronounced. For example, restaurant, they can click on this and they can listen to the dialogue being read, so they can imitate the sound. So that's how it will help them with pronunciation. So these are the instruments that I use for the collection. First one is pre-introduction checklist. Basically, it's a discussion with the teacher. I discuss with her who should I choose for sample, and she highlights several issues in speaking of the students. And then second is a pre-intervention post, and the pre-intervention test and post-intervention test done before and after you take this intervention. And lastly, observation. They use this slide for 3 weeks, so there are 3 observations, 1 for each week. And this is the research procedures. I developed the interactive dialogue, then the study with the teacher and select the samples. Next, pre-intervention test is done before they knew the existence of IDB at all. Only after that, I took this IDB. I made sure they know how to use it. I taught them how to use it because they need to use it independently. And they use it for week 1 and week 2. However, after week 2, they wanted to add some more dialogue in the intervention. That's why the IDB was improved. And this research uses the premise and the cycle. So this is the start of second cycle. So cycle here and second cycle here, because the intervention was included. And then after that, I will just put intervention test after 2, 3, and then I will analyze. Lastly, research will be mounted. So this is where the data was collected in the research procedure. Here, here, here. Okay, next. The data were analyzed systematically and triangulation were made, and this is what I found. Okay, before they use the interactive dialogue block, the pre-intervention test, I found that RT1 he had problems in grammatical error when speaking, halting, I think it's hesitating, and message. Message means they have problems to convey their meaning through verbal language. For example, they might use unsuitable words that might change the meaning of the dialogue. So the last one is monetized words. So he had these 4 issues in his dialogue. And for RP2, message, grammar, and halting. And for RP3, grammar, message, and halting. However, after 3 weeks of using the dialogue, you can see that the problems have reduced. For RP1, only grammar issue remain. For RP2 and RP3, only small halting remain. They still halted when speaking, but it's not serious. Okay, these are some points worth pointing out. First one is, as you can see, is interventions rely heavily on their ability to memorize the dialogue. So grammar skills, vocabulary skills, pronunciation skills might have not been improved. So and there are only 10 scenarios in that slide. So they might have difficulty communicating in other scenarios. However, the scenarios in that slide is already based on their the most common scenarios that happen in their life. So I thought that was enough for before I started the research. However, during the week 2, they asked for 2 more scenarios, so I added it into the intervention. And the IDD dialogue unlimited with that 12 scenarios again. And however, the conclusion is does the use of interactive dialogue improve people's basic listening skills? Yes, in the end, it can speak, although it is relying on their memorization skill. And last one, second one, does the use of interactive dialogue encourage people to speak English in daily conversation? Yes, because through observation, I found that the people use that intervention during English class when they want to talk to the teacher. So they refer to the intervention. So that means that the interactive dialogue encourages people to speak English. And the third one, does the use of interactive dialogue give the people's assurance of their ability to speak English with correct grammar and pronunciation? You can look back at this slide. Halting has reduced. So this is how I measure the assurance, because halting indicates that they are not confident enough to speak. So when the halting is reduced, I can conclude that the interactive dialogue has given the assurance to samples to speak English correctly. And this is my recommendation for future researchers that would like to adapt this kind of intervention. I hope they can make it more flexible. What I mean by flexible is create dialogue for multiple scenarios. Because as you can see, my intervention is limited, although it is a school, it is limited. So maybe they can create a more flexible intervention where people can create more dialogue for more scenarios. So this is what I recommend to future researchers. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. The ceremony will now continue with a question and answer session. The panel may start the Q&A session and ask questions to the presenter. you. Thank you.
Okay, sorry to say I'm just about blur because I don't have something to refer. And I am not your supervisor that know everything about your content, okay? So that's why, okay, we need to have the hard copy for the examiners. Even in the masters and PhD level also you need to have those things for them. Kalau tidak satu, kan? Kalau tidak, during your presentation we want to relate what you presented earlier, kan? On the first slide, second and so on. That's why it's very important. Because this will affect your marks. Yes, because I don't know about your, unless you go through one by one, then you have the understanding of it. Just based on your explanation, it's a bit. Okay. So I need to look at the first slide. How many? Saya kau balik rumah tu blur Boris. Okay, research questions? Okay, fine. What about the participants studying the RP2, RP3? Okay, then?
Intervention itself.
Okay. And then, when, apa tu nama dia tadi, intervention itu?
Interactive dialogue block.
Okay, interactive dialogue block. Okay. For which subject you teach this and you apply this for your students?
For which subject?
I mean, which topic? Because you can't just simply go in the classroom and then come out with this block, kan?
Yeah.
You have to have the topic, for what topic you teach them, and then they will apply this in their daily life or whatsoever lah. Okay?
First and foremost, this intervention is produced to help them speaking generally in class. So it's not actually related to any specific topic because this is an issue scenarios that they face in every class or most of the class. So it's not embedded to any certain topic actually.
But whatever that you do, you need to refer to the syllabus.
Oh,
isn't it?
for the syllabus, I refer to the year 3 SKP because during year 3 they should have mastered this skill to speak common needs or desires properly. So it is based on the year 3 SKP, although it is done after that when they have reached the 4.
Okay, can I see the word list? The one that word list for this dialogue box, the dialogue box. Teacher, may I do the rest? Right? Then what else? What word list? Because in your syllabus, whatever that you try to to teach, to test whatsoever, to assess your students, you need to have the word list. The word list is in the SKP. So that's why I'm asking you, kan, based on this, your technique ni sesuai. Is it suitable for you need to have one topic to introduce this. So, meaning for other topic and for applications, okay, of how they are going to apply this speaking. Later, you want them to proficient lah macam tu kan. So, I need, where is the word listed in your technique ni? What are you focusing on actually? It's not just, you cannot just simply speaking saja. Macam tu aja. For resume, I will do whatever. What about something yang you need to master from the syllabus itself? It seems like sekarang ni mengajar masuk you ajar je. You nak ajar speaking macam tu je. So what it has to be and what has to done with the syllabus?
Actually, it's not in any kind of lesson actually. It's for general use. I mean, like, if they want to speak, they can use it. Not for any particular class.
Not for lesson?
Not for lesson.
Meaning not for teaching and learning process?
It is for...
Because AR is something that you test people's kan, for teaching and learning, and then and for the enhancements of their performance, kan. So they need to get it from the whatever given lah. Kan, it's not just you come simply just give. You should refer to, because syllabus is your syllabus is your guidance, kan, your reference. Yeah. And then lepas ni apa jadi? Pada after you dah buat dialogue box ni, then what happened to the students? Did they improve in their teaching and their learning process ataupun just for speaking generally macam ni saja? Then what about the learning process, enhancements of their performance?
Because that's why I use because I use year 4 papers, although it is based on year 3 DSKT. So it's not included in the year 4 teaching. I mean, no, because it's from the past, yeah. Sorry.
Okay, thank you and congratulations on the work in result three. Okay, I will focus on the resource interact this PowerPoint slide. So, there is a good product resource to help students in speaking because there are many connections from picture to words and then language and then audio. So it's for me it's good. And then just want to know, can you maybe you can share with us what is words? For dialogue for this teacher.
I did not include it in this.
The last one is teacher. I can go to the second one. And then the second one.
For example, this one, teacher I cannot see it. And for this one, teacher I do not understand. So the dialogues are very simple. And for this one, okay, water. They want to refill the water. So teacher, may I refill the water? So the dialogues are very simple. Just like that.
And then
for this one, teacher I've done the homework. And this one, teacher I cannot hear you. And this one, teacher I'm sick. I'm not feeling well. This one I've done the correction. And this one, they raise their hand. Indicate that they want to answer a question or they want to speak. So teacher, can I answer the question?
so there are 10 picture and then 10 basic sentence.
Yep. Thank you.
Now, please welcome the next presenter, Nurul Afifah Najihan binti Adnan from Tesel 3. You may present your presentation. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. I bid to everyone. So today, my name is Nurul Afifah Najihan, and today I'm going to present a research title, The Benefits of English Day Towards Vocabulary Acquisition Among Youth Ibn Zahar in Sekolah Kuasa and Research. So the background of the study, as we all know, vocabulary is basically the most common or the basic foundation for English language proficiency. According to GAS, 1999, as cited by Charles Gibson, 2016, learning a second language means that it is only natural to know the depth of its lexical item, especially vocabulary. This is because the comprehension level for an individual language depends on the vocabulary knowledge, because it will necessary for them to keep recognizing and face variety types of new words as time passes. Okay, the statement of the problem. The reason for this research is to highlight the study on vocabulary acquisition of English language. Because everyone should know in order to be able to learn English language. For example, if we know certain words or certain basic words, we can already form a sentence that could make people understand what we are trying to convey. And then the implementation of English Day also aims to enhance the foundation of English language among people in school. This is based on my experience going to SPE and Practicum, where I found out that not all schools actually take the advantage of English Day to use it as a medium that could help pupils in order to learn English easily. And there are also differences in vocabulary acquisition, especially among those pupils who actively participated in English Day program and those who did not. Okay, what are the purpose of the study? The purpose of the study is to observe the effectiveness of English Day program in attracting and strengthening the vocabulary acquisition of Year 5 Ibn Zahar pupils from Sekolah Kuasa and Research. These are the research objectives. Number 1 is to determine the impact of English Day program in empowering Year 5 Ibn Zahar pupils' vocabulary development. And the second one is to discover the relevance of English Day program towards Year 5 pupils' interest in learning new vocabulary. This is the research question. Number 1, how does English Day program proven to be advantageous in pupils' vocabulary development? And the second one, how does pupils perceive English language programs such as English Day in learning new vocabularies? Okay, so what are the significance of the research? Vocabulary acquisition is intimately related with the language acquisition rules and regulation because it is a part of grammatical structure in English language. Therefore, it is relevant to focus on the development of vocabulary, especially among pupils starting from the earlier stage of learning in primary school. Therefore, this research will observe on how pupils' level of vocabulary acquisition are affected with the implementation of English Day in school. So I have two related past researchers, which is one from local, Malaysia, and the second one from overseas, China. The first one, Malaysia, is a highly immersive program, HIP, which was introduced by the Ministry of Education on 2016 as an enhancement to the educational policy, which aims to expose pupils with English-rich environment since early age. This initiative also promotes a variety of activities and programs that could also help pupils to learn English naturally, citing Abdullah and Muhammad 2020. And the second past research is from China, which a joint program with international students in a school in order to raise language awareness through exposure on the language, environment, and culture. So this joint program intends to make the Chinese students to actually learn the language by including the language, environment, and also the culture. So when it allows students to evaluate to their own standard of English proficiency, because when they speak, when they collaborate with each other, they can set their own standard of proficiency, like what kind of what certain level that they want to achieve, and then they can find room for improvements. Citing Okay, so my research design is qualitative, which is basic qualitative studies. My population and sample. Population are pupils from SD Pusat Bukit Besar, where the exposure of foreign or second language are commonly accentuated, especially among the pupils. Because SD Pusat Bukit Besar is the 2025 School of Transformation. Therefore, English language proficiency are heavily the school really wants their pupils to at least have a certain level of achievement in speaking English. Okay, and as for the sample, I choose 3 respondents from Year 5 Ibn Zahar from SQ Pusat Bukit Besar. The reason why I choose these 3 respondents is because even though the 3 of them are mixed abilities, the 3 of them have a history of participation or had participated in the program or activities during English Day in the school. Okay, so for my data collection, I use 2 instruments, which this is the interview, the question, and observation, checklist, and also field notes. Okay, moving on to research procedures. First of all, I select the title selection first, and then only then I can construct the instrument needed for that suits the title selection. For example, like the interview questions, checklists, and field notes. And then I estimate the time that I needed to proceed the research procedures, which takes about 2 weeks, and every week takes 2 days consecutively. And then only then we can distribute the consent letter to the pupils so that they can get approval from their parents to participate in this research. And then after receiving back the consent letter, the sample are given. The researcher gave a brief the sample about about the content of the questions, how to answer, and what should they do during the procedures. And then only then we can move on to data collection. Okay, data collection procedures. Okay, we start. It's basically the same, but we start from receiving back the consent letter, and then the sample was briefed. And then we can move on to the first data collection method, which is the semi-structured interview, where we use voice recording application and also interview questions. And then moving on to the next procedure, which is data filtering, where the voice recording of the interview will be transcribed into a text. And then moving to the next data collection method, which is observation, where the researcher data filtering of the observation, where we finalize the certain issue or theme that we want to focus in this research. Okay, as for the data analysis procedures, we use semantic analysis using deductive approach, where we make distinction of themes from the codes collected through the data. So we can see here from the observation, from the data collection, we first make codes where we assess the students, assess the pupils, like in aspect of attitude, interaction, communication, and also the language. And only then we can construct or finalize the theme that we are going to use in the data analysis later. Okay, so these are the data findings from the 3 samples that answer research question 1. Does English Day programs proven to be advantageous in pupils' vocabulary development? So, as you can see, from instrument 1 interview. You can see it later because it's in there. Okay. There are two questions that test their ability or their vocabulary level in the interview, and also the observation observed on how they acted or how they show the attitude in the classroom. Okay, and also this is the data findings that answer for research question number 2. How do pupils perceive English language program such as English Day in learning new vocabularies? It contains questions from the interview about how they are feeling about about English Day program in the school and what did they do or what did they learn. Okay. So the discussion that I get from this data finding is the analysis was proven to answer at first research question 2, whereas people did perceive English language program as interesting. That hence it becomes a basic platform for them to acquire and learn new vocabularies. And also, respondents' knowledge on standard vocabularies also develop progressively, which answers research question 1, where they are able to give the synonym for words that were listed according to the SKP in year 4 vocabulary that they need to achieve. Okay, and however, the results may change from time to time according to the vocabulary improvement along with the continuous exposure of English language program. Okay, so the conclusion. Pupils need to be in an engaging environment that could support their emotional interest and cognitive interest. Therefore, teachers should be able to know how to manipulate and adapt the English program in order to make the classroom become more engaging and fun to learn. This could be a new learning experience that pupils could always indulge in and also develop progressively. So the recommendations. This study could help in terms of discovery the magnitude of variables from English language programs that could affect pupils' perception and achievement in acquiring vocabulary. So, this study could help the community to know and understand more about English language programs like English Day, which was implemented in school, in order on how the teachers, co-administrator, parents, and the society could help to instill the perspective of English language among the pupils. Okay, as for the implementation, this conception of English Day implementation elevates the capacity of English language programs, particularly English Day, because pupils themselves know themselves better than others, so they can use English Day as a program for them to explore and try new activities that would suit their learning needs in order to learn English. Teachers should also it also helps teachers to think and adapt and adopt on how this program of English Day could eventually become the material or medium that teachers will always use in order to make the teaching and learning session become even more fun and enjoy. Even more fun, and pupils can always learn in a more natural way. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you for your study presentation. The ceremony will now continue with a question and answer session. The panel may start the Q&A session and ask questions to the presenter. Thank you.
English Day program. So it's implemented in SK Pusat.
Yes.
The town. Meaning this program is a daily program.
Weekly. Weekly, yeah.
So on which period?
On which period?
Because in one day, of course, all the classes they have, it's only English kan. So what day is that?
Oh, because during my practicum, I got English class every day. So I implemented the activities that they usually use during English day program in school in class.
Meaning, just now you said English day, you carried out the activity.
Yeah.
You carried out the activity.
Yes. I like the English day in SP Pusat Besar. They have it on Monday. So I guess that Monday, it's not like I put aside the lesson. I guess I still teach them, but I use the method that they usually use, method or activities that they usually use, that they implemented during English day.
Because previously, because some schools they have it every day, every morning before they enter the class or after recess something, and then they will announce for the homes, they have the announcer lah, okay, maybe after recess, okay, before they start the subject, and then they will they implement it every day. So they come up with one day award.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's what I'm asking you, how this pusat implement this English day. Okay. So so what's the limitation of this program?
The limitation. The limitation for this program is that, just like you said before, this school does not actually provided one specific time for them actually to focus on the English language. They just say okay, Monday is the day that they need to implement English. So they need to maybe teacher themselves needs to take initiative. Maybe they could speak in English in class, or maybe they could make what do you call piggy bank, which when the pupils didn't speak English in class, they could put 20 cents or something like that in class.
And then there are some other schools, English day, then they will choose one day in a week, and then for the whole day, everyone will have to speak English. Okay. Okay. So it's a bit different lah from what depends lah on the school kan, they have their own alternative lah. Okay. So Abdullah, I think yang you buat tadi boleh sebagai English test program. Cepat tak? Sebab you tak relate dengan syllabus kan, you just make it generally. I think that is the thing that you can apply it before you start teaching kan. Before you start the topic, okay, hari ni ada topik katakanlah fruits or vegetables or whatsoever. Before you start to masuk 5 minutes tu, you bagi dulu.
It's part of school program to improve speaking skills.
Speaking. That is every day you masuk buat before you start the topic.
It's like hilang lah.
Sebab kalau you buat macam tu, it seems that you tak relate. Kan, you tak. You focus on. You just simply bagi je. So what happen later kan? Kalau you dah tak ada, orang lain takkan dia will do that kan? I think that's buat yang untuk program. Kan? Bukanlah for one specific, time kan? You masuk je. Make it spontaneously. And before you start, then you buat speaking. At least one day, one sentence. Right? Enough. Rather than you focus tu, lepas tu hilang. Dah tak ada. Right? Sorry, no one else here. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And then thank you Nur Habibah for the question. Okay, this day, let's say your finding show that the people did not persist. The English language programs are interesting.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to do?
if they did not perceive English Day program as interesting. Okay. In my opinion, if they didn't feel like English Day program is actually interesting for them to take part in or to participate in, I think instead of focusing just in, because this is in my opinion, I usually interact with pupils not only in classroom. Sometimes outside of classroom, I also try to make them engage with me. Like for example, outside of classroom, maybe because this might be my only my what I think, but I think they love my classroom because I always play games with them inside or outside of classroom. So as for me, as in this school, they really love games. Therefore, I think in order to make it interesting, instead of just there are very variety types of activities that we can do. Sometimes it includes technology or includes like there's normal learning methods. But as for me, I love to include games.
Why they do not love this program? Why? So then you can so we can.
Dia SES dia these people their background social economics or status. Yeah, from their background.
Their background varies. Like some
Malaysia macam mana?
the samples.
Yeah.
The samples. The sample are the pupils in the pupils. The sample are the pupils in my classroom. Most of them, it's like split in half and half. Like the half of the classroom, the pupils came from just what they call middle class family. But some of them, the parents might be like lawyer, doctor.
Because that area kan.
Yeah.
Once dulu anak ni Sultan. He was there.
Yeah. Right.
Dia orang kita nak tengok dia punya SES kan. Okay, thank you.
It's up to you.
Also don't have the hard copy.
I have some issues with my printer.
I blur you. You need to have this. Baru you tak tadi soal banyak. Get ready. Okay.
Now, let's welcome our next presenter, Muhammad Haziq from the support. Okay, now you may present your presentation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. I am Muhammad Haziq from Tesel 4 PISMP. 2018 intake.
Is that you?
Yes.
Is that you?
Yes.
It's so different.
Much very.
Not lain.
Uh,
Ya betul. We are twins, ah?
No, it's me. Okay, today I'm going to present my research report entitled The Use of Encon to Improve Year 5 Pupils' Ability in Using Coordinating Conjunctions in Sentences. Slide. Okay, first and foremost, let us go through the introduction of the background of the study. So the inspiration behind this actual research is from my past experience from first one practicum, whereby in SK Budamburo, whereby I have encountered many pedagogical issues during my teaching experiences. Let me elaborate. In SK Budamburo, I will start to teach 2 Year 5 classes, and based on my observation, the people are taking the interest in learning grammar in the language lessons. As a result, they often shows minimal efforts in the language classroom. Besides, the pupils also have been negatively influenced by the environment due to their mother tongue. It's because the environment they are living rarely speak English. As a result, they have the lack of exposure to practice their language either at school or at home. So both this issue has resulted to the formation of the main problem of this study, which is the poor mastery of coordinating conjunctions. Okay, next slide. Okay, this study focuses on 2 main problems, which are people's inability to use coordinating conjunctions correctly in sentences. This is quite worrying because coordinating conjunction is a basic and fundamental grammar items which are being used in daily basis. Besides, poor mastery of this grammar item will affect the people's writing and speaking skills poorly because they will be unable to form compound sentences correctly in their utterances. For the second problem, is people's lack of interest in learning grammar in the language classroom. This is because it's critical because low interest equals to low effort. Low effort will lead to low performance among students. Besides, it is also important for teachers to attract the pupils in learning grammar because it is an essential skill to possess in order to become a proficient speaker. Next. Okay, I have formulated 2 research objectives for this study. The first one is to improve Year 5 pupils' ability in using coordinating conjunctions in sentences using N1 to attract Year 5 pupils' interest in learning coordinating conjunctions using N1. Next. Okay, I also have constructed 2 research questions based on the research objective. Where the first question is, does the use of N1 improve Year 5 pupils' ability in using coordinating conjunctions in sentences? The second question is, does the use of N1 attracted Year 5 pupils' interest in learning coordinating conjunctions? Right. Okay, let's move on to the significance of the study. The significance of the study for this research focuses on 2 parties, which are the pupils and the teachers. This is because this excellent research was aimed to provide teaching and learning innovation that improve people's mastery of coordinating conjunctions and to attract their interest in learning grammar. Besides, this study also has the purpose to evaluate the effectiveness of educational games in the teaching of grammar. Therefore, it can be served as a testimony for the teachers and inspire them to use the said method. Okay. Moreover, this study also supported by notable related past research. One of them is Viviana 2013, who conducted a study on the people's error in using coordinating conjunctions. So based on her research findings, she has found out that her pupils are often making too many mistakes when using coordinating conjunctions in sentences, which are omission, the absence of grammar items, such as the example below, and the addition, which are the presence of unnecessary grammar items in sentences, such as the example below. So this study supported my research issue, which is the inability of the pupils in using coordinating conjunctions correctly. So, besides that, my research also supported by the study on the benefits of using games in the teaching of grammar by Timmy and Juliana 2015. Both of them have discovered that the usage of games in the teaching of grammar are able to encourage positive attitudes and promote high enjoyment, motivation, engagement, and participation among pupils in the English classroom. As a result, this study supported the adequate intervention design, which are emphasis on using educational games in the teaching of coordinating conjunctions. Okay, next, let us go through to the underpinning theories. This research was underpinned by three main theories. The first one is Piaget's constructivism theory, the program process. This is because Adikon focus on helping people to recruit their schemata through the appropriation process on the concept of coordinating conjunctions through the cycles of implementation. Next is Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, whereby the Adikon targeted to exploit the pupils with visual, spatial, intra and interpersonal learning style. Lastly is Bayesian language acquisition theory, affective filter hypothesis, because this study aimed to lower the pupils' affective filters using Adikon index grammar method. Next, I will elaborate on the research focus by explaining the relevancy, researchability, and manageability of this study. This study is relevant because coordinating conjunctions are fundamental grammar items that are often used on a daily basis, and poor mastery of the grammar items will greatly influence people's writing and speaking skills as they are unable to construct compound sentences correctly. Next is the researchability. This research is researchable because it is supported by multiple related past literature and study, and also has the access of reliable data collection methods. Lastly, this research is manageable because grammar skills is observable and people's improvement in the subject can be clearly measured. Next, this research population and samples are among sekolah kebangsaan yang buruk, specifically among year 5 early class. There are 4 research participants involved. The first participant is an extremely shy boy who always afraid to try something in the classroom. Participant 2 is a girl, is a quiet girl who very quiet in the classroom, but a very diligent student who doesn't have the problems in completing the homework given by the teachers. As for participant 3, he is an active and sociable pupil. He often was very cooperative in the classroom, but in the same time very playful and easily distracted. And lastly, participant 4 is one of the confident and outspoken girl of 5 other class, as she often asks questions in my lesson. All of them come from low socioeconomic background and have poor mastery of coordinating conjunction based on the diagnostic test result conducted with them. Okay, moving on. This research using 4 instruments, which are document analysis, observation, checklist, semi-structured interview, and analytical intervention. As for document analysis, it is based on the pre and post intervention test, which are conducted via Google Form, because this method is more accessible and more familiar among the students due to the PDPR session during the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, This test actually contains 21 questions, 3 for each framework or for each coordinating conjunction. For example, 3 questions for for, 3 for question for and 3 for question for all. And the marking system of this concentration is based like this. Next. Okay, this is the observation checklist, and following that is the semi-structured interview. Okay, now let me introduce you to my Ambilan intervention. Ambilan is a compilation of teaching and learning activities which focuses on both inputs and outputs in the language classroom. The first activity is interactive PowerPoints, where the students will be introduced with the learning inputs of coordinating conjunctions. The second activity is the mix and match, which will allow the pupils to pair up the coordinating conjunctions to their respective concept. Next is the blueprint game that will provide fun and engaging educational games that will allow them to practice what they have learned during the past session. Here, the students are required to choose and fill in the blank, choose the correct question and fill in the blank for the sentences provided in order to win. And the last one is flashcards, which allow the students to review and reflect back the lessons before answering the post-test intervention. Okay, this is the research procedures. Okay, this study started off with the by conducting diagnostic tests to identify the issue and selecting research participants. Afterwards, the implementation of the intervention will be carried out, which will be implemented in 2 cycles using the chemist and integrated action research model. Moreover, in between the cycles, the addition of Malay language translation mechanism in interactive PowerPoints and multiplying objectives are added due to the request from the students. Okay, these are the data selection procedures, which start from pre-intervention test, implementation of training part, observation of participants, post-intervention test, interview sessions. Let's see. And this is the data analysis procedure. This study implemented deductive thematic analysis, which are the things were commented before the implementation of intervention. This is the procedure the document analysis. Next is the observation checklist, semi-structured interview, and the triangulation from the 3 data instruments. I will be explaining my data findings based on my research question to answer them. So, from this study, this study was able to answer the first research question as Anicon indeed is able to improve your 5 pupils' ability in using coordinating projections correctly. As you can see in this graph, there are a positive inclination in the student performance in pre-intervention test and post-intervention test, cycle 1 and cycle 2. Next is this study also able to answer each second question as Anicon has successfully attracted the pupils' interest in learning coordinating conjunctions. Based on this table here, we can see that all 4 of the students has displayed excellent level of interest and enjoyment towards Anicon in the learning of coordinating conjunctions. Okay, next is the discussion. This study is aligned with the underpinning theories as Anicon has helped the research participants to review their schemata on coordinating conjunctions, and Anicon has exploited the pupils' visual, spatial, and intrapersonal intelligences in order to attract them to learn the grammar item. And the last one is that Anicon has lowered the research participants' perspective filter as their motivation and enjoyment during the lesson has increased. This study also supported Kimi and Juliana's research discovery as Anicon has achieved the same results as their study. To conclude, Anicon has proven to be useful in improving your 5 pupils' ability in using coordinating conjunctions correctly in sentences and attracting them in learning the grammar items. Okay, I have formulated two recommendations for the research. Is to create platforms for people to create platforms such as Google Classroom and Pelajar for the pupils to access the intervention independently. This is to build during the COVID-19 pandemic, whereby online teaching is what we use, and to promote student-centered approach. This also will be beneficial for the teachers to experiment or adopt this intervention to suit with their needs. Next is to create an offline version of Anchor to make the intervention more accessible for urban and rural area, and to become fully independent from the needs of internet connection. Okay, that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. The ceremony will now continue with a question and answer session. The panel may start the Q&A session and ask questions to the presenter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Makasih, thank you, and congratulations for your presentation. Okay, so you also made creative and innovative software. Okay, any comment? So, I want to know. Okay, maybe you can tell us how the people use the unicorn in your class.
Okay, so first and foremost, for the intervention implementation procedures, first and foremost, I will be providing the Google Meet links for the students for them to enter in order for them to use this intervention. So first and foremost, I will introduce them and give them the tutorial on how to use this intervention. Next, I will provide the links for them to access the four activities here. So the first one is the interactive PowerPoint. The interactive PowerPoint is an engaging and a visual heavy learning content whereby they will be introduced with the concept of cognitive interventions and the examples of how to use the grammar item correctly in sentences. For example, as you can see here, example is no, example, tigers. They will be provided with the examples. Next, after they have gone through with the interactive PowerPoint, they must go to the next list, which is the mix and match, whereby they need to pair up each cognitive version to their concept. For example, and the use of and. The use of and is to connect two ideas, so they must connect the two items together in order to successfully finish this task. And next is blueprint games. As you can see here, we have, I'm so sorry, the picture is so small. There are so many types of additional games. So basically, this provides the students a more engaging learning experience, whereby they are provide with the activity for them to practice what they have learned here with the integration of gamifications, which will be more interesting for them, because as you can see here, we have the websites and these cafe-like games, whereby the students need to, for this cafe game, the pupils need to answer correctly in order to gain the food here, in order for them to sell to the customers here, in order to win the game. This is one of the examples. Next is the flashcard here. Flashcard is quite self-explanatory, which is this website will provide them with a list of cognitive conjunctions or categories. Then what they have to do is they just need to click one of these boxes, and it will flip and it will reveal the concept of the configuration, which is to show reasons and is to combine two ideas or things, and not to combine two untrue things.
So the number 2 and number 3, maybe just for student exercise, right?
Number 2 and 3 is basically for their outputs, meaning that they are creating or using
The process of number 1.
The learning process is in number 1.
Maybe number 4, the flashcard is should be combined together with the people we know. At the end, so the people do the exercise given. It will be more systematic. Okay, that's all.
So any form
Good.
ada lagi. Okay, so that means animation. Animation or what?
Animals.
Animals.
Because for the theme of this intervention.
So when you teach about conjunctions,
Yes.
you use this technique.
Yes, because one of the topic in the textbook of Year 5 is animated animals, and one of the writing the SKP is writing the SKP 4.25 that require the students to connect two sentences, to connect sentences in order to form paragraph. Actually, so this intervention is created in order to fully achieve the learning and teaching needs.
Okay, conjunctions have many conjunctions.
Yes.
Conjunctions of places, times, and all those things. So you guna yang teknik ni juga.
Actually, yes, you can also use this type of intervention in order to teach different types of conjunction. For example, conjunction of times. But actually, you can use this type of intervention and adopt it to teach any grammar items that you want. For example, if you want to teach verb, right? If you want to teach, present and past tense. So what you need to do is you just need to change the content of the interactive PowerPoints, and maybe you can create another activity or mix and match, and just provide a new question for the wicked games, and provide another flashcards content that's suitable with your grammar lesson.
Okay. Means you teach conjunctions or you use the animals punya dulu lah.
No. But I'm not saying that every time I'm going to teach conjunctions I will be using this, but I'm creating this intervention in order to improve as an intervention, as a new tool, a new teaching tool for the students to learn and to attract them to the grammar. Because my pupils in SK Bidang Burung, they are actually coming from a low socioeconomic background. They rarely use English in schools or at home. So as a result, they are unaware. They think that the English is not important, especially grammar. It is such a complicated and less enjoyable lesson in English, right? So that is the reason behind I created this intervention in order to give them a new and innovative learning tool and to attract them to love grammar, to change their perspective.
So what's your expectations towards for further improvement of this intervention?
So one of the limitations of my intervention is that the lack of the people's literacy in technology. Actually, the first time I implement Pendidikan towards my students, they are unable to use it correctly. They need an extensive supervision of me in order for them to use it. So what I would suggest is that maybe the teachers can create a tutorial video for them, so that they can just follow the video, and the implementation of this or the usage of the intervention among people will be more smoothly.
Okay, thank you. You put in answering the questions. Because actually, all this work yours. Kan? So you nak, it's senang je during the QA, you know what you are doing, isn't it? So, you give your logical rationale. Kan? You tak tahu nak buat apa. So, you bagi yang logic punya rationale. So, oh, okay lah. Macam like since bila kita tanya you, oh, you pun, you're having yourself. Okay? Okay, so thank you, that's all. Maka belum lagi nanti
Thank you for last presenter. Alhamdulillah. With the end of the presentation earlier, our presentation session this morning will now end. Congratulations to all presenters who have successfully presented their research today. It is hoped that all teacher trainees get various input today, including constructive comments and suggestions for improvement and refinement of their research report. I would like to thank the panel of professors, lecturers, teacher trainee of IPT campus Dr. Razali Ismail, and for fellow audiences who are willing to attend the seminar today. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.